This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a nice day and welcome back to lesson 2. So let's have a quick recap of what we have learned in the last class. So we started by exploring Google Colab and understanding how to access it. And then we did write our first lines of code, and then we covered topics like what is a variable. So what is a variable? What do you mean by a variable? So variable is like a container where you can store a value. So instead of remembering the memory locations, we can access the values which we can reuse later by giving some names. So we covered topics like variables, and then what are data types. We discussed on different data types like integer, floats, strings, and boolean, true and false. So then did some arithmetic operations in Python and tried basic functions like print function, input function. If you want to check the type of a data, so using the type function. So I hope for till now, I hope everyone had a chance to explore the Google Colab and did try it on your own. Since we'll be using it throughout the course for the whole curriculum, we are going to use the same Google Colab lessons. So I've structured each lesson in a way that keeps things organized in notebooks so that you don't have to keep taking notes throughout the lesson. You can directly concentrate on understanding the concepts. So every notebook is similar to the lessons you're going to see today and yesterday. So where you have theory and the activities planned in such a way that it's organized, and you can run it from your end, and you can have your own hands-on coding exercises too. So I'm going to share today's lesson with you. So where we are going to cover, uh, let me directly show it to you. First, let me share the Google Colab for you, and you can try opening it and make a copy of it. And let me share my screen. So if you are getting notebook loading error, try opening in incognito mode, try clearing the history and cache. So you just need your Gmail ID. I've said it yesterday too. So we are going to cover topics again like input function. We stopped yesterday with input function. We'll start again with input function, how to do data type conversion, how to increment a value. If a value is stored in a variable, if you want to increment the value, how to do it, and the important concepts of coding, while loops, and the conditional statements. So the syntax might change with Python programming, but the core concept of while loop and conditional statements are similar to other programming language also. So we are going to cover while loops today. So you can put it in the chat if you did open the Google Colab from your end also. Just give a thumbs up or done if you did open it from your end and didn't had any errors. So okay, I did share. Okay, able to access. Okay, great. So done. Yeah. So make a copy. Make sure like you go click on file, click on save a copy in Drive. So that you have a copy of your own of lesson 2 on like directly onto your Google Drive, so that you can type in the activities there, because I didn't give you the edit access, I just gave you the view access. So we'll start with activity 1, the input function. So yesterday we saw the print function, right? So there are ready-made functions and uh, user defined functions. We are going to cover functions topic tomorrow, like what exactly had a task to print whatever value we put it in the print function. It's like a machine, like functions are like a machines where you give some input according to the machine's made, it would give you the output. Like if there is a ATM machine, you give in the output. So if you want to print some input, like you want to use the input function, so you can create a variable simply by creating a letter like a equal to 6. So it's a variable created where a equal to 6 value is stored inside the variable a here. So this is what we created yesterday. Here we are creating a variable name where I'm going to store a value, but not directly, but I'm taking the value taking the value from the input function. For example, I have a variable like b. So instead of directly giving a value for b like 5, I'm using this input function. The task of input function is to take input from the user. It would take, like, I can just type in anything and enter. That would be the value of b now. If I want to just print the value of b, run it, it's 8798, yeah, something. Like if I would have given some other input for it, then I would have printed the same value of b here. So yeah, so here input function, the main important point which we have to remember is it always takes the input in form of strings. These are numbers, but it's not a integer. If you want to check the type here, so we have a ready-made function again, which is already created by the Python author. If you want to check what is the data type of B here, what do you think the data type of B is? B here, if I just check the type of B here, because I've taken this value for B using the input function. So if I check type of B, what would be the output? Correct, Sutanu, it's string, yeah. So by default, the string input of the string input function always takes input in the form of string. What would be the type here? If I check the type of A, what would be the data type of A here? Audio dropped in between. Okay, is my voice clear now? Am I audible? Yeah, no, I'm really sorry. Like there's this festival going on. I think some disturbance because of that. Maybe if it persists like tomorrow also, I need to check internet's speed and all. So yeah. So if I want to check the type of A, what would be the output? Integer, right? Correct. So if I create one more variable and say false in it, if I do check the type of D, what is the data type of D here? Correct, it's Boolean. Okay, if the same one more data type, what is the type of E now? Is it a Boolean or string? It's a string, right? Whenever you give quotations, it becomes a string. So you can check the data types of a variable using this type function. So it's a ready-made function. The code is already written by the Python author. We are directly using this. So the task of this function is to just give you the output to show you what is the type of the data we are entered into the variables here. So we have created few variables here, and yeah. So now instead of giving like single letter variables, we are trying to give the variables names in such a way that it represents the value which we are going to store in it. So that's a good practice. But here you don't have to give the variable name as name, but you can give ABC anything here by following the rules. Like Python identifies the rules of naming a variable. By following it, you can give any name here. So if I run it, it would take the input and then gives the output here. So now if you want to take the input of name and password, and if you want to print like your username is name, your password is password, so you can run this from your end also. Try running it. So you can give some username like hello at the rate, like whatever you type in, the input function would take it. So the password you can just give something and run it. So it would print accordingly. If you see the print statement, we have combined the text, the string, your username is constant here, and I've given the variable name here. So with separated by the comma here. So when I separate it with comma here, so name is the variable. So whatever stored inside the variable name, was here, like hello@gmail.com. That's the input I've given here. And then the password, your password is a string here, it's constant here. So the password, whatever I've entered was here. So the same thing, if I, so, so we're taking two inputs and printing using the print statement. We are combining the input function and the print function. So if you don't have this, what would be the output? You can even try it from your end. So if you just don't have any variable names like name and password, you have to print like your username is, your password is. So if you just run it, I'm giving a username like some HOHH, something like that. So the output would be always like your username is, comma, like your password is. Whatever strings we have given here, you will be seeing the output only. The print statement, we are printing it. The input function, like the name and password are created in the backend, but you don't see it in the output. So the variables are created, but we are not printing them. So if you want to print them, then you have to either use it here or you can separately print them also. So if you just give the password here itself, then it would be like your name, your username is whatever hue we have entered here. Let me just run it in the next code cell so that I don't have to give the inputs again. So your username is ha, and whatever I have typed in here, your password is like. So don't get confused between variables and the strings. So when you are using variables, we don't give the quotations for it. They are the variables. Like if you are again printing here, but you are adding something like uh, Python. So what would be the output now if I just run this? Print your username is name, password. Your password is Python. What do you think would be the output? Will I get error or will it run error, right? Because name and password are the variables which are already created. If I even add the variables which I have already created like B, D, E, it would I would get it in the output. But if I just randomly type some word like Python, if it's not a string, if it's not a variable which is already created, it would throw error. So name Python is not defined. So slowly we should start reading the errors. Like when you read this error, name Python is not defined, we would understand that there is no variable which is created with the name Python. So if I can make it a string, it would work. If I create some variable with name Python, it would work. But randomly, if you just type in something without quotations, it would throw error. So if all the variables which I created above, like D, E, A, B, so I can print them. These are not the letters, these are the variables which I've created. I've given the values like false. For E also I've given the false. But again, one was the input, one was the boolean we have created. Whatever values we stored in the variables, we can get it in the output. So that's the only difference. Like when you're using the print function, make sure variables, we don't give the quotations for it. For strings, we give the quotations. Any questions with this? Before we proceed for the next activity. So this is a simple way of creating a variable and input function. So there are like thousands of functions. Randomly, we have started with input function. There is no particular reason why learning input function for now. But just to give you an idea, like there are thousands of ready-made functions. According to the purpose, when and where what is required, we keep exploring them. And slowly you'll understand what are the limitations or what extent of ready-made functions are available with Python. So the print function is usually something we start with because we print the results. Then the input function, you observe that we are taking the input and printing it. So then you can try this activity. Same using the input function. Try taking two inputs. Take two inputs as two numbers. Like take a input for number one, take a input for number two, and you should add them both. So the result should be like, for example, you have taken the input 5 and the second input is 4. The result should be 9. So instead of directly adding numbers like this, 6 plus 4 equal to 10, we are trying to take the same input by using the input function. You should get the boxes like please enter number 1, please enter number 2. Then you have to add in and the next activity, like in the next third step. So 3 lines of code with all that we have seen above. Try using if you want to take the help of the example tool. Try creating this. Take two inputs as uh, take two numbers as input, add them, and print the result. So take a minute, just try it. If you're not able to do it, that's also good, but that's also okay. But just try it from your end also. You would have opened the collapse, made a copy of it. Try just typing it from your end. If you are able to do it, you can directly put done in the chat, or if you have any trouble doing it, you can even put that in the chat. But just try. I strongly suggest for the first timers who are learning the coding for the first time, do try it. We have the reference also. Here we are taking the input for the birth year, and then the current year we just give a variable. Then when you subtract, it would be the age. So don't look at the screen. I'll also start typing it from my end. So you can try it from your end. I'll start typing it from my end too. So okay, done, great. So if you are able to do it, good. If not, so if you just look at my screen, what would be the result now? Will it throw error or will it work? If I just use this particular code, whatever I have written here. Number 1, I'm taking the input, please enter number 1. Number 2, I'm taking the input, please enter number 2. So if I'm just adding the resultant and saving it in one more variable. So we are adding number 1 plus number 2. So these are two variables we are adding, and the result we are storing it in the new variable result here, which I want to print it here. So if I just run it, will it work? It will concatenate. Okay, let me run it. I'm giving number 1 as 6, number 2 as 4. Yeah, that's correct. Like we got the strings as the input here, right? So it's 6 and 4, you got the output like 64 here. So because we have the note point here, like always input function takes input in the form of strings. And we know like two strings, if you are adding together, they concatenate, but they don't add. So 6 and 4, if you add them like this by strings, it's 64. So the result is 64. I'm commenting this code here, and if I'm printing the result, if I'm converting the number 1 and number 2 integer and then presenting the result, it would be the addition then. So the output is 10 here. So you can even convert to integer in this step, or you can convert it directly here. So we call it like data type conversion. If you are converting one data type into another data type. So if you have a string, like if you have a number, you can convert, like for example, you have a number you can convert that to an integer. But if you're trying to do some text conversion like this, it would throw error. So the Python codes are written in the, like the author has written in the backend in such a way that like when you just give a string and you're trying to convert it to an integer, it would throw error. So when it's just the numbers like strings, it would do the job for us. So you can even convert numbers to a string by using str function. So we call it like data type conversion. So you can directly, yeah, convert in this line too, instead of doing it here in the line 4. Okay, it would work the same. So we have done this activity yesterday. I'll quickly run this. Like you're taking the birth year as input and it should calculate the current age. So the logic is just that current year minus birth year. So you're going to get like your age years old, like age is the value which we are going to get it here. So if I just run it, if someone's born on 2000, so the age would be 25 years old. We are subtracting 2000 minus 2025. So this is about the input function. Let's see how to increment a number in Python. So if you have a variable created, for example, q equal to 1. So it's a variable created in the backend. It's a box where you named it q and you stored one in it. If I now want to change this q value to 2, I just want to add plus 1 to it. So we can do it like we can increment a value for a variable. For that, what I'm going to do it here is, so q equal to 1 is a variable created. I want to add 1 for it. So I just write it q equal to q plus 1. So that means I'm adding for the existing q plus 1 to it, and I'm re-adding like I'm again giving the same variable name here q. If you do change it, the like if you change it to some w or like some other variable name, then it's like two variables are created, initial variable with 1, the second variable where after adding one value to it. So for Python, if you want to increment a value, so you can increment it and then you reassign to the variable. So then now the new q value would be 2. So each time I run it, so again variable would be created and you do q equal to q plus 1, 2 would be there, right? For example, I have one more variable which is defined like r equal to 1. I just run it in a separate code cell. I'll take a new code cell. What I'm doing is I'll do the same thing, r equal to r plus 1. So the same code. I want to print r. So I'm running it. So it's 2 now. I'm going to run it again. What do you think would be the output? Will it be 2 again? Look at it very carefully. So initialized q equal to 1 on the same code cell, I written like q equal to q plus 1. So that means whatever variable we have created, we are adding plus 1 to it and we are reassigning it to the same variable name here. So you are printing q. You got it 2 here. I run it again. You saw the 2 again. So I run to r equal to 1 once, but I'm running this like r equal to r plus 1. Then I got the output 2. I'm going to run it again once more. What would be the output? Will it be 2 again? So each time I run it, it's 2. So if I run this again, 3, run it again 4, run it again 5. So the difference here is, here when I run this code cell, I'm running this 3 lines again and again. Each time a variable is created as 1, then we are incrementing it to plus 1 and 2. Once again I'll run it, again variable is initialized q as 1, then we are adding 1, it's 2. Here what happened is, so in one code cell, I tried creating a variable r where I initialized 1. In the next code cell, I just run it once, initialized it once, and then I run this code 3 times. Then what happens is r plus 1. So it become 2. So the next time I run it, now the new r value was 2. and I add one more. So R become 3. The new R value was 3 before. One more time I run it, it becomes 4. So we are not initializing it again to back to 1 here. If I rerun this again to R equal to 1 and run it, so again starts from 2. So make sure when you are writing the codes, if you are writing in the same code cell, so that means each time all the code line by line it would run again. So if you have a habit of writing each line in a different code cells, then it becomes, the problem is this, like you initialize it, next time you run it, so you are not running this one again, but you are rerunning only this step again and again. So you can try it from your end. So these smaller things, like when you once you start programming, the smaller things you can try getting habituated. Maybe the first time, second time, it's little confusing for the first timers, but not very difficult concepts. So trust me, like you just practice like it's like a puzzle. Take in some values, like run it, you can make errors, read the errors, do the changes, because the concepts which we have covered till now are what are variables, what are data types, how to use a print function, type function, input function. So you can play around with them. So in that process you might learn something new. So get a hands-on with Google Colab, and it's easy also, right? If you need a code cell, new code cell, you just type in here whatever you wanted, you can type it here, you just run it. So no need of installations of anything and setting up things. Just you open it, run it, you are there to learn immediately. Only 2 steps before you do the coding part. So here, before we go for while loop, so some more points about print functions. Not very necessary, but just that, like, each function you can do some add-ons. So the print function is one of the most commonly used functions in Python, and it all, like we know, like it allows you to display whatever text you write it inside, and variables on the, even the variables you can print using the print function. So whatever green statement you are seeing it here, whenever you put in hash before them, they are not code anymore, they are the comments. So they are just the plain comments, so that you can if multiple people are working, so you can get an idea like what is the code with it, like simple print statement. So these are comments. So syntax is nothing but these rules which are we are learning is nothing but it's like grammar of a programming language. So the terms like strings, print statement, like functions, all this is like terminology of a new language. When we learn slowly the syntax, so like if you just miss a bracket and run it, it would throw error. So it's like the like syntax we have to follow for sure. So if the print statement is designed in the backend, how it is expecting the values for it, we have to follow that rules, and we call it like syntax. All the programming language have their own syntaxes, and the syntax of Python programming is little less complex compared to other programming languages. It's a readable and easy beginner friendly programming language. So here print statement, like if you have multiple statements like hello, how are you? So the output would be very simple print statement, hello, how are you, right? So you can have a keyword added to it. For example, by default, if you have multiple words printed with which are separated by comma, they're separated by space, right? So if I have a simple print statement with hello, how are you, with a single string, it would be a similar output. Hello, how are you? Multiple inputs you give it, similar output separated by comma. But if you want to control the connection between multiple inputs by some word or something, like you want to print it, you can use the separate keyword for it. If you want to use the separate keyword in the print function, it specifies the separator between multiple arguments. If you have single, then it will be the same statement, whatever is inside the print statement, we are going to print it. But if you have multiple inputs, it would be like if you want to separate it by ampersand symbol 4 times, it would be like hello ampersand symbol filled up as the joining like between the two arguments here. So you can give any separator, like if you just want to specify question mark, then you will be separated the arguments by question mark like this. So you have like 2606 2024 separated by hyphen. So you can use it. So separated keyword can be added for the print function, which controls like if you have multiple arguments, how to join them together. So it would be useful like when you are doing like project and where you want to print something, but you have multiple outputs to be printed by some particular argument you want to do it. You can add some keywords like this. And again, don't like if you know print statement, it's good. These things when and where needed you can use it, but don't try to buy hard anything. So if it's needed, you'll get an idea. Okay, there is some keyword should be added for it. So by that, which would control this. If you get that idea, you can get it from the internet also. But don't try to buy hard this small thing, details for now. So there's one more thing. Like we can create strings using single quotations, and we can create strings using double quotations, right? For example, I want to print something like double quotation. Also, I can create Nagpur orange. Nagpur is a place famous for oranges. So it's okay, like single or double, it would work. But if I want to print something where I have this apostrophe in between, Nagpur's orange. So if I add in like apostrophe symbol here and run it, it would throw error. Things like the string start and string end is one string, but for this string there is no start point. So if you combine this multiple double quotations and single quotations, it would solve the problem. With a small string, what we can do is, you can, so I'll just comment this, the same statement. So you can either combine it with double quotations and single quotations. It would actually solve the problem where it would print like Nagpur's orange. You can do the combination of single and double quotations, but if it's a longer strings, it becomes difficult to take care of minute details. For a whole 30-40 lines are there, like you want to do something like this, it becomes difficult. So the combination is one like this is how you can solve it in one way. The other way is like if you want to ignore some characters inside the print statement, you can use this backlash symbol. So backlash, you can use it, then it would solve this problem. Like you had this print statement here, right? So instead of combining quotations, if you use just the backlash symbol like this, it would solve the problem. So the print statement would ignore the hyphen inside it. So that is one more solution. But with hyphen, there's one problem again. The thing is, here also it would solve it. So what do you think would be the output if I just print C colon docs colon N Nagesh? Will it be C colon docs Nagesh, or so colon N has a specific task to be done inside Python. That is, it would consider this, not colon N, sorry, backlash N. It would consider this as a new line character. So whenever print statements is this backslash N, it would print it in the next line. You can see like it become like C colon docs colon N has become like a new line character. We call it like new line character. So for example, the same thing I can have like K. Okay, colon K has some. Okay, so let's not give single colon here. Invalid escape. So I didn't give any. If I just have, so it would ignore any special characters with this backslash here. But whenever if you have this backslash n, it would be considered like a new line character. So when it's colon, sorry, backslash n, you have to make sure you give double slash here so that you can print C colon docs Nagesh. So just remember that backslash n is considered like a new line character in the print statement. Whenever you have this backslash n, it would be print in the next line. So you can explore this backslash n. So this thing you can remember. Backslash n is a new line character. This keywords, yeah. So there's one more keyword also which you can use it in the print statement. like if there are multiple print statements like this. Here inside one single print statement, we had 4 arguments. But if you have multiple print statements, if you want to control how you want to join the multiple strings, by default, it's again like a new line character. You won't see it here, but if it's going printing in the next line, that means in the backend, there's a new line character like this. So it's printing in the next line. So if you want to control that, if you want to end with asterisk, so you would see like you are going to get it in the single line. Hello, how are you? So you can control the output of the print statement using this keywords separator and end. You can even combine both of them together. So Python is awesome. Separator and end, like you can combine them together too. So you want to separate each argument with uh, hyphens here, and you want to join two statements with at the rate. So you can play around with the separator and end keyword inside the print statement. So this is about the print statement and the input function. So we'll cover the while loop and then we'll stop today's lesson. So last one activity we'll cover for today. So what do you think? If I want to print hello everyone 5 times, how do I print it? If I just want to print hello everyone 5 times. If I want to print once, it would be once I'm going to print hello everyone. If I want to print 5 times, one way is I'll just copy it. I'll paste it 5 times. So 5 print statements would be there. If there are 100, then I have to paste it like 100 times, hello everyone. So it doesn't make sense then. So if it's like 2, 3 times you repeat like this, it's okay. But if you want to do something repetitive with Python, we have a concept of loops. Because if you just try start printing like this, if there is a code which has to be repeated 100 times, instead of writing it 100 times and running it, you have the concept of these loops. So which like we have while loop and for loop. For loop comes little later. First we'll cover while loop. So using these loops, so the repeated block can be run with a condition. So while loop repeats a block of code as long as the condition is true. How to do a while loop? We are going to see it in in this activity. So the while loop runs on a condition. So how many times this print statement has to run? There should be some condition, right? If you want to run it for 5 times, there should be a condition which is written like 5 times run it. So we have a condition. Based on that condition, till that condition is true, the while loop keeps running. That is the important point of while loop. So as long as the condition is true, the while loop will run endlessly. The moment condition becomes false, the while loop stops. That's how basic while loop concept works. But the syntax, we are going to see how to use it in Python. So in Python, how to use while loop is the keyword is while, and then you have to give the condition, and you have a colon. Once you give the colon, you enter, you press enter, you see some space here. So usually if you are into other programming languages, to enter some block of code, we use this brackets. In Python, we don't have brackets concept. We have this space concept. So to be inside a block, like to be inside this while loop, we have to specify this space. Either you give 2 space or 4 space, like you have to maintain the consistency. Like if you are maintaining 4 spaces, then each time you have to stay like 4 spaces here. Once you remove the spaces and go back, that means you're coming out of the while block. So we'll see with an example also. But here we don't have the concept of brackets to enter a while loop. So this colon is the syntax, like we have to give the colon after the condition, if not it would throw error. And to enter this while block, the key is the spaces, and there is a word for it. For the spaces, we call it like indentation. So the word for spaces here is indentation. So indentation refers to the spaces or tabs used at the beginning of the line of a code. In Python, indentation is crucial because it defines the blocks of code. Unlike many other programming languages where they uses this brackets to define the blocks of code, Python uses indentation. That means the spacing. And why is it important? Proper indentation is required for the program to run. Without it, interpreter will throw an error, and the code readability is good when you have indentation, and you have to maintain the same consistency. So the standard practice is either 4 spaces or 2 spaces. You can even set the 4 spaces or 2 spaces setting for the collab notebook. So where you can look at like how many spaces you have, like uh, editor, yeah. So you have like indentation width and spaces. You can set it like 2 or 4. By default, you press enter, it would enter 4 spaces or 2 spaces. So you can set it. So I usually use like 4 spaces. So the same print statement here. First, we'll just print it without loops. You just have to repeat the code, right? We'll do our first while loop. First, I'll type in, then I'll explain it again. So it's little logical, not very complicated that you don't understand it. Only for the first timers, it seems like what is happening here, because we are like combining the concept of indentation, while concept, loop concept, right? So look at it carefully. First, I'm creating a variable which is I equal to 1. So I have created a variable where I stored like I've created a container where I've stored a value 1 inside it. Now I want to increment this, like I want to print the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I'll do is I'll use a while statement. One method is that I directly use the print statement and write print 1, print 2, print 3, and so on. I don't want to use that method because if I want to print from 1 to 100, that is not sustainable. So I'll use while loop. So while is the keyword. So which is, we have no control, like this is already designed. I have to type in while. And now the condition is I want to print this I till it becomes less than or equal to 5. And the colon is again the syntax. If I just press enter, you can also, like after I type in here, you can also type in from your end and check. If I press enter, by default I'm here with this 4 spaces. You can see the 4 dots. So that means I'm inside the while block. So what I want to print 5 times is the I value. So I want to print the value of I, which now has 1. But I don't want to stay at 1. I want the next I value to be 2, the next I value to be 3. Likewise, I want to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 using the while loop. So I just written a condition I less than or equal to 5. So what happens here is I equal to 1. To enter a while loop, this condition has to be true. That is the key to enter a while block. If this condition is not true, we will never enter a while block. So if I value is 1, right? I created a box where I is the variable and stored value 1 here. So now I'll check in the while statement. 1 less than or equal to 5. Is it true or false? 1, the value 1 is less than 5 or greater than 5? 1 less than or equal to 5. So it's true, right? The value is true. So that means 1 is less than or equal to 5, it's true. So we are going to enter the while loop. So while entering, you see the print statement, which is print I. It would print 1. So now I want to increment this I value to the next value, the 2 value here. So what I'll do is I'll just type in increment statement. I want to increment I value I equal to I plus 1. So we know like I value is 1. When I just write I plus 1, after printing I, it would increment 1 plus 1, I value will become 2. To come out of the while loop, once you enter this while loop, to come out of this while loop, this statement has to become false. Till it's true, it keeps on running in the loop here. So it would be, now I have incremented I value to 2. I equal to I plus 1, it has become 2. So this value was incremented to 2 now. So it would again check 2 less than or equal to 5. Is it still true or false? 2 is less than or equal to 5. It's still true, right? So it's still true. So you are still inside the block. It would again print I. Now the I value is 2. So it will again increment 2 equal to 2 plus 1. The I value will increment to 3. It would again check 3 less than or equal to 5. So it's still true. Again you are inside the block. It would print 3 now. It would increment again I plus 1, 4. It will check again 4 less than or equal to 5. So it's still true. You are going to stay inside, print 4, increment to 5. So it would check again 5 less than or equal to 5. So it's less than or equal to, so it would be true. So it would now print 5. So the next step is crucial. Like once it's 5, it would again go back, check, increment here. Like 5 plus 1, it becomes 6 now. The I value presently is 6. So now it checks 6 less than or equal to 5. Now this statement is false. Like 6 is not less than or equal to 5. So it's false. So that means now the true has become false. We are going to come out of the while loop. It's not going to enter again. It's not going to print I. So only 1, 2, 3, 4, Y will be printed and we are out of the while loop. So should I run it? Any questions with this? So if it's not clear, we'll take more examples. So how this while loop is working. So if I just run it, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same block of code, if I would have taken I less than or equal to 10, then it would run like 10 times till I value becomes 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if the same block of code here, instead of print statement in this line, look at this carefully, instead of this line, I'll print it here. So the same thing, I'll print it here. What do you think would be the output now? Take a minute, like I equal to 1, I while I less than or equal to 5. So Python code would be executed line by line. I just changed the print statement from here to here. What would be the output? Will it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or will it be 2, 3, 4, 5, or will it be error? What would be the output? So today, after today, I wish, I hope, like you play around with the while loop till you get a clear clarity about the while loop, how it is working. With all the, like we have studied like print function, we know like how to store, how the variable stores the value. We know how the incrementation is done on a variable. So you can play around, like we know how the print statement works. So if you just change this, the print statement to the next line, the output would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just by print statement here, you can know like what is happening is I less than equal to 5, 1 less than equal to 5 is true. You will enter inside the while loop. But why after entering, the statement is not printing I first. The statement is incrementing. So initial I value was 1, it would increment directly. It becomes 2. After the I value has become 2 in this line, it's printing I. So that's the reason you first got the 2. So like the way we have done line by line, like it becomes 3. After printing 6, then it's actually breaking the while loop here. So you get like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Logically, if you're confused, like write this on paper. It's interesting to, like for the first timers you're learning while loop, and the first timers you're learning any programming language for the first time, just do it on the paper, how this logically working. So Python will print the code line by line. So just by changing print I to the next line, you can see that output has changed. So same, like if I want to print hello everyone 5 times, instead of printing I, what I'll do is I equal to 1. So you can take any variable. I don't. You don't have to take always I. You can take it k, any variable. Y I less than or equal to 5. I'm not. I don't want to print 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. I want to print hello everyone 5 times this time. So I'm printing hello everyone, and then I'm incrementing I equal to I plus 1 in running it. So you see like hello everyone is printed 5 times, because whatever print statement out, instead of printing I am printing hello everyone here. So I got like 5 times hello everyone here. Any questions with while loop? Is it okay or is it still confusing? You want me to explain again? Okay, great. So you can try this while loop and try this activity like homework, like write a program that prints numbers 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So using the while loop. So we have a simple explanation of how while loop works also. Whatever I've explained, we have put it in the text also. If you are confused, you can read that too. But try this activity. Write a program that prints numbers 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. 4 lines of code, but you have to think of a logic where using the while loop you have to print this. Try it. So we'll tomorrow we'll cover like how what happens like if the condition is always true, how to break a infinite while loop, because if the condition is not false, we are not going to come out of uh, the loops here. So I have a question. What is practical application of while loop? So while loop is used for repeating a block of code. In the future, like if instead of block of code, you have a particular function you have to repeat multiple times. So we have used a while loop. So you can see the simple example here itself. Instead of typing 5 times hello everyone, if you want to print hello everyone 100 times, using the while loop, it's very easy. Like you want to repeat this print statement 100 times, you just write the code 100 here. So it would print hello everyone for you 100 times. So it's easy to repeat a task using the while loop by giving a condition. So that's a practical implication. So you just know that to repeat something in a loop, we use the loops concept. So, and yeah, you can try this 357 printing 357 9 11 using the while loop. So I'll share the curriculum, the whole curriculum with you. So I'll share you the Word document. You can even find the curriculum on the Visha's website. So I'll share the Word document too in the chat. So you can open up the document from your end. So this is a document where you have the whole curriculum. And tomorrow we'll continue with infinite while loops and conditional statements. So if else blocks, like if you want to print if a particular condition, not like if not, like what's the second condition, how to use if else blocks. It's easy to understand because while loops, even the conditional statements, you have these concepts in all programming languages. But Python, the syntax is easy. So today after the class, take 5 or 10 minutes to concentrate on the word like indentation. What exactly is indentation? The spacing, how we are using the while condition. That's it. So I hope it's clear for you. If you have any questions, you can ask. If not, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow where we'll learn more about more Python concepts. Is it clear today? Is it okay for you? Any questions before I leave? Okay. No questions? Good. Is that a good sign if you have no questions? Okay, great. So I share the today's lesson. Yeah. So see you tomorrow. Have a good night. So if you are from different time zones, have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.